Welcome back to Havana Media. My name is Boniface Owino, and as usual, I'm going to be your host for today. Now, before I talk about before I talk about our today's video, there is something that I would like to start with. If at all you've ever interacted with anybody that had been maybe detained, or any person that had been arrested, and maybe spent quite some times in prison or in detention, the person will tell you the kind of life that they are living inside there. I once interacted with one of them. What these guys, if at all you interact with them, what these people will tell you is that there is a different life in there. Like you are out of, you are limited. There are a lot of things that you are restricted from doing. The only thing that you do is you go eat, you go back to prison. You are limited. You don't have that freedom that you could have had outside here. And they will even tell you that most of them normally cry. Most of them normally ask for forgiveness. Most of them, almost all of them, normally praise, telling God to forgive them for maybe what they did. That if at all they had another chance, they could have not messed up. So that is the kind of life that those people live in prison. They ask forgiveness every now and then. Some of them even go ahead maybe to appeal, but you end up the judge or maybe the court doesn't agree to their request, so it forces them to go back again to prison to spend the rest of their life, maybe to spend up to the time that they will finish the years of their term in jail. So when these people come out, these are the kind of people that when they come out from prison, their life is very much different. They change a lot. A lot changes. If you study them, you realize that a lot have changed in their lives. And if at all they were doing something negatively, maybe that they feel like can take them back to prison, they try to avoid such kind of things. Why am I speaking like this? I'm speaking like this because there is a very big enemy in our country. There is one of the biggest enemy that we have in this country that is leading us astray. And if at all you will find a way of maybe arresting this enemy and maybe taking him in prison at a detention for very many years, then we can have a lot of freedom in the country. The greatest enemy in this country is corruption. And the question, I've been asking myself this question, that how can we detain this corruption? How can we arrest this corruption? Because corruption is in every corner, in every office. Anywhere you go to, there is corruption. Any department in the government you go to, there must be corruption. You have to bribe anybody, and this corruption is brought by bribe. You have to bribe somebody to get a job. When you ask for a job, you must be asked, whom do you know? I remember this one will sound funny. I remember one time I was applying to become I went for the field, by the way. I wanted to become a Kenya Army. So one thing happened is that this one is just a little bit of the story, so that I can show the kind of life in the country we are in. So we ran. I covered that distance. At one point they're telling you that what you will do is that you just run. Yeah, we'll not consider. We'll not look at who comes last, who comes first, but. And some of them will also say that you run, will put that into consideration too. The faster you become, the better. So we covered that long distance of around 15 kilometers. After covering the distance of 15 kilometers, I managed to become number 2. So after becoming number 2, because I was told that someone who gave me a leakage told me that you go run, don't miss top 5. So I ran, I became number 2. We did all the medical, we went there, everything was okay up to the last minute. So when we reached the last point now whereby the names were supposed to be read, one of the officers called me. Now we were there around 6 of us. Now we were being asked what we're supposed to do, what next. So this guy called me and asked me this question. This question has been ringing in my mind since then. It has been something like 2-3 years. So this guy asked me that, young man, you are qualified, you are okay, you are fit, everything is okay. But we have a problem. Whom do you know? So that question of whom do you know really rang in my mind. And I asked him that, what do you mean by whom do you know? So he asked me again that if at all you don't know anybody, then what do you have? So are you seeing the kind of life, the kind of country we are in? Whom do you know and what do you have? So these things must be like, if at all you don't know anybody, then you must have something. And this thing that you must have is money. There is nothing. You must have money. You must bribe them to get what you want. So I told this guy that I don't know anybody and I don't have anything. So immediately the guy told me that I'm afraid then you can't get the chance, because there are also some people who are with you here, and they are just waiting, they are just praying for this chance. So if at all you cannot offer anything, then I'm sorry, you cannot get into the force. I got out of that place really hard, but there's nothing I could do, because I could not give the money that they wanted. It was a huge amount of money. I could not offer it. At the end of the day, I didn't even know anybody. So I think the kind of life that we're living. I started by telling the story of if at all you are in prison, if at all you mingle with someone who have been in prison, when these people come out, they'll tell you the kind of life they've been living in prison, and they tell you the kind of mistreatment and the kind of limitations, the way they are limited. They don't have that freedom. Now, talking about now the reasons why I've said all that in the beginning of this video, I want us to take a look at what is happening in our country right now. And I've told you the greatest enemy that we have is the corruption. And this corruption is brought by our leaders. One time Omtata made a statement by saying that our president, William Samoei Ruto, will go to prison. If it is not now, it will be after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, or even 10 years. But eventually, William Samoei Ruto will be jailed. Why? Because if you try to look at what is happening in the country right now, we all know that William Ruto at one point went to I.C.C, that is Hague, and his record is there. And these guys have been following him up and down. I've been trying to look at his record, the kind of life that he's been living since he came out of Hague. And to be sincere with you, we can't say that William Ruto has kept a clear record. So it means that if at all now the case is reopened, he will be found guilty.
Ruto is going to jail.
Certain.
He will not escape it. He will not escape it. It may not happen today, but within 10 years, Ruto will be in jail. Yeah.
Based on everything that we've seen.
What is happening now, and plus what he has done in the past. You know, there are footprints where we are. There are footprints where we are. It's not just by accident that we have got a government made of thieves for thieves by thieves. But the people are now beginning to ask, from 1963, what went wrong? Where did the rain begin beating us? That's the question Gen Z is asking. Why can't we have good governance? How come some people can live so large while others have nothing? And the same people who are living large are not inventors, are not known for any enterprise, they don't own any company or anything. They're just politicians or civil servants. They are surviving on our taxes. How come? That some of them are even now richer than the country in terms of balance sheet.
And there will be high possibilities, high chances of William Ruto being taken to court and being taken to prison. Let us start with the demonstrations. How many people have died during the Gen Z's demonstration? A lot of people have died during the Gen Z's demonstrations. William Ruto is not even bothered. If you try to look at the scenario of what happened in Githurai, a lot of people died, some bodies were lost. William Ruto does not even care. How many people did the policemen shoot to death during the demonstration? There were a lot of open firearms which took lives of many. No one has cared about that. Are you seeing all this? High taxation. It is even forcing the Americans to send a message to William Ruto telling him that he should listen to the Gen Z's demand and the Kenyans. He's not even bothered about that. So, all these things, when they are brought together in one page, you'll find that when now the case is taken before the judges, people like Fatu Bensouda, we'll find that William Ruto has got a lot of questions to answer. And some of them will not even be able to answer because he will be found guilty. So that is what I've been ringing in my mind. What do you think? What is the greatest enemy that we have in our country? Because according to me, I think that the greatest enemy that we have in our country that is making everything now look bad is corruption. How can we end this corruption? Are we in a position to end this corruption? If yes, how are we going to end it? And who is really going to help us end this kind of corruption? I'd like to know what you think at the comment section. But just a reminder, if you're meeting for the first time, please don't forget to click the subscribe button. You can also like, share, and drop me a comment telling me what you think and where you're watching us from. As I normally say, the feedback is normally the key thing in any form of communication. I'm not fail to appreciate those who have been giving us support, because without your support, this channel cannot grow and it cannot be where it is at now. Until we meet again, I've been your host, Boniface Weno. Bye-bye.